Welcome to the Live It Right podcast, hosted by John and Caitlin Lindsay. We're going to be talking all things health and wellness, from food, fitness, relationships. So if you want to live your best life and live it right, join us for this conversation.
So whether you're a health enthusiast, a busy professional, or someone looking to achieve a more fulfilling life, you're in the right place. Tune in, subscribe, and join our community as we explore the path to living it right.
Let's go. All right. Welcome back to the Live It Right podcast. We are on episode 4 today. So if you missed episode 3, Caitlin interviewed me and we talked about how to start your mobility journey. We're flipping the script today. I'm going to interview Caitlin on how do we start healthy eating. That's her specialty. So we're going to dive right in. You've got a newbie. How are we starting to eat healthy?
So I think 3 things right off the bat that need to be understood. 1, keep it simple. 2, and I'll elaborate a little bit. 2 is set realistic expectations. And 3, understand that eating at home is a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
So to kind of reel it back a little bit, keeping it simple is number 1. So I think a lot of people, no bad habits kicked overnight. Like it takes time. And I feel like a lot of people, if you're really a newbie, transitioning and completely transforming the way that you eat is not an overnight thing. So
Totally.
The easiest way of doing it is starting simple. Start easy. We'll dive into a little bit about like what that means, but don't overwhelm yourself. It's so easy to do, but like you're not going to snap your fingers and that's going to change. Again, set realistic expectations. Like for example, you eat out 8 times a month, so twice a week. I would encourage you cut that in half. Eating at home is a non-negotiable, like I said, but I do understand that some people can't. What?
Most people eat out 8 times a week.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
total.
8 times a month is like, people's like, what?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
Dang it.
Yeah, you got to be, most people, yeah, I mean, that was great until that.
Yeah, I know.
That's not.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. All right. Welcome back to the Live It Right podcast, episode 4 today. So on episode 3, Caitlin interviewed me and we discussed how to start your mobility journey. And today I'm interviewing Caitlin and we're going to discuss.
Okay.
Here we go.
We got it.
All right,
Let's
Third
go.
time's a charm.
Third time's a charm.
3, 2, 1. All right. Welcome back. Come on. 3, 2, 1. All right. Welcome back to the Live It Right podcast, episode 4. On episode 3, Caitlin interviewed me and we discussed how to start your mobility journey. Today, I will be interviewing her and we're going to discuss how to start healthy eating.
Yep.
So let's pretend we've got a total newbie. How do we get started?
Well, I mean, we'll cut right to the chase here. I mean, there's 3 things that I would really focus on. So 1, keep it simple. And I'll elaborate on this a little bit. 1, keep it simple. 2, set realistic expectations. And 3, understand that eating at home is a non-negotiable. So to reel it back just a bit, so keep it simple. I mean, if you're really new to healthy eating, like let's be honest, no bad habit is kicked overnight. Mm-hmm. You're not going to snap your fingers and be a professional in the kitchen and all of a sudden completely transition the way that you eat. So keep it simple. We'll dive a little bit more into that. But going along with that, it's setting realistic expectations. If you have been down a different trajectory, set an expectation of like what you actually think you'll be able to accomplish. Because I think a lot of people, I see this more times than I would like to, set these unrealistic expectations of what they're going to do. I'm never going to eat out. I'm only going to eat X, Y, and Z. I'm going to cook every meal at home. And you're setting yourself up for failure because it takes time.
I think I hear those stories where people go, they have that epiphany, they go to the grocery store, they load it up with a bunch of fresh produce, they get a bunch of good, high quality meat, and then
you don't know what to do with
2 days in, 2 days in, they're eating out again.
Yeah.
4 days in, half that stuff's bad. Yeah. 5 days in, they're so discouraged from what they did that it's overwhelming and they just go right back to bad habits.
Well, and depending where you are, I mean, newbie or not, like where your palate is, your palate takes time to change. And if you're used to eating really crappy food,
processed foods and even like pseudo fast foody type foods too. If you're grabbing like a quick bite somewhere, chances are that has a much different flavor profile than if you're making that same dish at home.
Yeah, so it takes time. And understand that. Like, don't expect it to change overnight, just like a movement.
Movement practice,
like, let's be honest. So, and then understand that eating at home is a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Change, and especially healthy change, takes sacrifice. So you're going to have to learn that you're going to have to sacrifice things that you may not want to. For example, you eat out 8 times a week. That's got to be cut down, because the thing is no matter where you're eating, certain places are on an upward trajectory, but most places are cooking with unhealthy inflammatory oils, not good quality meats. The selection is not there. So, setting that expectation of knowing that you're going to have to cook at home, you're going to have to learn to not eat out. That's just...
eating out healthy is a total skill that we're not even great at. Like, you've got to go in there, ask the right questions, read labels of containers they have in there. Like, it really is a skill to be able to do that. And it's, chances are, if you're listening to this and you're eating out and you're thinking you're eating healthy, I would imagine
probably not.
Maybe check yourself and start to commit time to eating in your own home.
Yeah. And I will say, I don't want to knock everyone. There are restaurants trying to do it better.
For sure.
However, there's a very small percentage of them. And just a little, to give you context, someone who is healthy, who has healthy habits, I worked a corporate job for, a number of years. This was when I was traveling a lot after I moved to Savannah.
Yeah.
It took
Red Robin.
me... Huh?
A lot of Red Robin trips, if I remember correctly.
It took me a solid, 8 to 10 months to find my routine of what worked, of finding the healthiest options of where that was. And it was not easy, guys. Let me be honest with you. And that was just that's not even taking into context the gluten-free piece of it. That's just finding healthy food.
Yeah.
When I was traveling. So it's, for someone who that's very a normal thing for me, that was hard.
Yeah.
So we got to learn to eat at home, guys. We got to eat, and it is not, once you get the grasp of how easy it truly is, it's not hard.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I mean, obviously, eventually you can start eating out and stuff, but if you do commit the time to being in the kitchen, you're going to become a better cook faster. And, you're going to start saving money doing these things. Yeah. And, once you become a better cook, the food tastes better, the habit sticks a little harder. Like, there's a lot of benefits to developing that skill of cooking, I would imagine, alongside healthy eating.
And trust me, anyone that I have ever talked to that I've helped, with this transition, or even if they do cook at home, but they don't cook healthy, like casseroles, a lot of heavy stuff. I've never had someone say, I hate this. I don't like this. It's when you start feeling better, when you start feeling that transition in your body changing, it's emotional, physical, cognitive, it affects everything. So, but really the basis is starting simple, especially if you're brand new to this. You really need to reel it in, because I know we had the conversation just before we got on here of, things like Instagram and Pinterest can really throw you for a loop of what some people call easy may be incredibly intimidating to you, so it is something that takes time, and you have to do it in a way that works for you and your lifestyle, because what's easy for you may not be easy for someone else.
So if you have someone that's eating out for, as you said, 8 meals a week, so it's 4 lunches, 4 dinners, whatever it is, what would be a good goal if they're thinking, all right, in a month, I want to do X? What do you think a good structured goal would be for that person?
Well, I think the first thing that you have to do is understand your family dynamic, whether that's one person, 2 people, 7 people. Understand your family dynamic, but like I talked about, making sacrifices and creating a discipline of commitment to this is, we say, 8 times a week, let's cut that. Let's take out 2 of those, 3 of those. And we're going to say on a weekly basis, you look at your calendar, I'm cooking at home Tuesday and Thursday. I'm not running around with my head cut off.
Yeah.
We're cooking at home Tuesday and Thursday, and you carve out half an hour. All you need is half an hour.
Yeah. Those days are a little more low key in the evenings.
Correct.
Easy to make dinners.
Like, please don't plan to cook at home when you have 3 kids at 3 different sports.
Yeah.
And you're new to cooking at home. You will overwhelm yourself, and you're not going to end up doing it.
Yeah.
So I think it really is, it's setting a plan. I know this is so cliche. Make a grocery list before you go to the store so you don't just end up grabbing a bunch of stuff. And when we talk about, let's, lead that into grocery shopping, starting simple. I know that if you're in the wellness space, you've heard this a billion times, shop the perimeter of the store, because the perimeter of the store is your produce, your dairy, and your proteins, your meats. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that everything on the aisles is bad for you, but starting out, the main basis of what you need on your plate can be found on the perimeter of the grocery store.
Yeah. It kind of makes me think of also another cliche said thing is eat well 90% of the time. And so if you shop the perimeter 90% of the time, that other 10% you can fill in with, your oats, your rices, stuff like that. That's still good, high quality carbs. And you go in there and get it, but still the bulk of your calories are coming from that perimeter.
Yeah, and that's, you made a good point. So we can kind of go ahead into the grocery shopping realm of stuff is, like I said, the stuff on the aisles is not bad for you, but it's understanding what things to gravitate towards. We buy certain things, a lot of people want to jump right in and say eating healthy is too expensive. It's too...
Let's dive into that, because that is something I think that comes up all the time and I'm probably the most frugal person you know. Yes. I'm definitely the most frugal person I know. And you hear that all the time, healthy eating is so expensive. And if you did just jump into the grocery store, you were like, the organic cornflakes are more than the normal cornflakes, and the grass-fed hamburger meat is more expensive. So you would think that initially, but
Sure.
Debunk that for me.
Okay, well, first of all, if you actually took the time, which no one's going to do this, but if you actually take the time to look at processed foods, they are very expensive. You're just not looking at 2 different things side by side. But for example, I was just at the grocery store. The organic chicken wings were on sale for the same price as the regular chicken wings. So,
And you got some, right?
And I did get some, don't worry. So a couple things you can do. One is look for sales. I understand that might involve going to multiple grocery stores. If that doesn't work for you, look at the sales at the one grocery store that you go to. Stock up. There is nothing wrong. Yes, it would be awesome to go get fresh meat that was just butchered and eat it that day. But let's be realistic here again. Stock up when meat is on sale. Portion it out, freeze it, and then thaw it as you're going to use it.
It's time saver too.
It's a time saver. If you have a Costco or a Sam's Club membership, any of those wholesale, I use Thrive Market a lot. Purchase rice in bulk, oats in bulk. We do some quinoa. We don't do, those are kind of our main grains.
Yeah. If you digest other grains well, though, you can typically find any common grain in bulk.
Certainly. And if you're intimidated by fresh produce, there's nothing wrong with frozen produce as long as there's one ingredient. I've started seeing a lot in the frozen aisles, frozen vegetables. They're starting to add other stuff in there. Get frozen broccoli that has one ingredient. Mm-hmm. It doesn't need anything else in it. You don't need all the seasonings. You don't need the flavors. You don't need the sauces. Let's just stick with that. If that intimidates you, or if you're afraid of wasting money by not cooking it in time, frozen is not a bad thing.
Yeah, I think the frozen vegetable things makes me think back to when I was single, and that would be a go-to for me just because I still haven't mastered this, picking out fresh things.
Yeah.
like when we're in the grocery store, I always like wave you down and be like, can you select the avocado, the pineapple, all this stuff? Because I never quite know. And so, I mean, that's still kind of intimidating to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, frozen vegetables, I believe typically frozen vegetables and fruit are flash frozen at peak ripeness.
Yes.
So you're going to get a pretty good product, and it's going to be less expensive.
I mean, let's be honest, if you're getting frozen fruit, you're probably, I mean, a lot of people do smoothies. That's an easy way to get a good, healthy balance. If you add protein to it, the frozen makes it nice and thick anyways. So you might want to opt for frozen because one, it's already cut for you and it's ready to go in the blender. So again, it's a time saver. I know it's not always money. It's also time saving as well. So there are things you can do. Just obviously fresh. I go for fresh over frozen, but I know how to pick out things. I know portions. I know all that kind of stuff, but frozen is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
So purchase in bulk, break things down, freeze what you're not going to use immediately, and you can save money that way. That's just one way.
Yeah, totally.
There are other ways of saving money as well, but
a couple things. One thing I think you do really well is, I mean, it's the nature of your work, but it's also, I mean, we don't want to spend a ton of money. It's, we live in Savannah, Georgia, not a huge town, but we have access to quite a few grocery stores. I mean, you're pretty aware of like Fresh Market has a recurring sale on Tuesday for a certain product.
yeah.
I get grains at this grocery store. I get X, Y, and Z at this other grocery store. You do that enough, you kind of just learn to know this is there, this is here. And yeah, it might take you a couple more minutes or a week to grocery shop and whatnot. But at the end of the day, if your priority is to save money,
Right.
it might be worth it. And if you commute to work, chances are you might pass multiple grocery stores along the way. It's so easy now to just get online, type in like the grocery store you're curious about, see what their sales are, see what you can go take advantage of and stock up on. And then you hit it once a month when they're having an awesome sale, and it's a sweet way to save money.
Yeah. And speaking of, as we're sitting here talking about bulking, like purchasing certain things in bulk and to save money, not to bounce back to the keep it simple thing, but something I just thought about that I wanted to mention is don't try and make, if you're planning on this week, let's say this week that you're going to cook 3 times, that you're going to cook 3 times.
I think that's a nice goal too. 3 dinners during the week.
Make them simple, but also if you need to, 2 of those 3, make the same thing. Like you don't need to try a different recipe every time you cook because that may overwhelm you.
Yeah.
And you know what? If the more times you make something, the better you're going to get at it.
Yeah.
And, that's another thing that we can is diversifying, but making at the same time. So for example, one of the easiest things you can do, guys, throw some vegetables on a baking sheet, roast them in the oven, marinate or season chicken breasts 3 or 4 different ways, all on the grill at the same time, but they're seasoned 4 different ways, and make a large portion of rice. But when it's done, separate it and then season it a little bit differently. You just made 4 different meals out of the 3 basic things that you're doing. You just created 4 different meals.
Yeah. And that's, first time might not take you 30 minutes, but as you get efficient with that can be start to clean up 30 minutes. No question.
And we're going to get into a little bit of time saving stuff at the end, but the other thing, another debunked thing is it does not take too much time. I understand meal prep might not be for everyone. So that was something that we talk about is I personally do not meal prep. We used to.
When we used to do the whole Sunday, 3 hours making.
Now we selfishly want our Sunday.
Yeah.
But that's also because we prioritize that time to cook at night. That is something that we do. If you don't have the time to carve out, but you can carve out, or even if it's Monday morning and Thursday morning, once you drop the kids off at school, you can prep a couple days of stuff. Whatever day of the week that works for you. It's going to be different for everyone, but meal prep, I would say 90% of the people that I know do some sort of meal prep if they're consistent with stuff. but like I cook for a living. So like the most meal prep we do is at night. We'll make dinner and I'll make 4 servings instead of 2, and the extra 2 servings are for lunch the next day. So that's an easy way. If you don't like leftovers, sorry guys, you're gonna have to figure out something. But
2 meals in a row is not a big deal. So we'll do that, and then I'm eating at work.
Yeah.
So I'll typically make my protein shake the night before as well, and I pack a lot of stuff in that, and it serves as my breakfast. So,
which actually gets me to my next point of just, we can talk about some easy recipes to save time.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
We were talking about, things are too expensive. Well, let's talk about time saving.
Yeah.
So, let's start with breakfast and brunch. You've got protein shakes, easy way of adding protein and making sure that you meet your protein goals, made in less than 30 seconds, maybe.
What's the Magic Bullet maybe?
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's the brand we have, but those little cup blenders, I think the one we've had has probably been used no less than 1,000 times.
Oh yeah.
And you buy extra little cups to blend it. That is we use it for more than just protein shakes, but huge time saver is throw in your milk, banana, protein shakes. If I feel like I need more carbs, I'll throw oats in there.
Yep.
It blends up really nice, kind of a thicker porridgey type consistency, but awesome for added calories. The versatility of a protein shake is fantastic, and it's easy to change the flavor. Just buy a different protein flavor and boom.
Or put different fruit.
Yeah,
or,
exactly.
Whatever it is. So there's, protein shakes, chia pudding.
What is chia pudding?
So
People might not know that.
Chia pudding, you can make it a couple different ways, but it's basically chia seeds and then your choice of milk. But I add yogurt to make it extra thick and creamy. You blend that together with whatever protein, frozen fruit, fresh fruit, whatever you want. But then it refrigerates overnight, and those chia seeds, it creates it's a pudding consistency.
Yeah, you made some the other day. It's really good.
So that is incredibly versatile. Protein shakes, chia pudding, overnight oats, incredibly versatile. If you're not a fan of uncooked oats, which I do know some people are, baked oatmeal.
Yeah, I was going to say, even oats cooked, oatmeal or baked oatmeal made, if you're having like maybe a special weekend breakfast and you're making a nice oatmeal or something, make a ton, because regular oats and baked oatmeal tastes like overnight oats. And it'll last for a couple days.
Yeah, I have recipes for single serve baked oatmeal, but let's be honest, I generally make a massive pan because we like it so much. So again, if you have a big family, that easy.
That's a great one.
And you could even double it. And that's most of those. It's not this simple, but it's literally dumping stuff in a bowl, mixing it together, and pouring it in a pan.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Yeah, and then the other stuff you mentioned before that is even easier, because it's not even any cooking involved. It's just mixed protein shakes, the chia pudding.
Now, the one thing, protein shakes have to be made. I prefer mine. I don't like them left overnight in the fridge. He makes it the night before. That's a personal preference thing. But the chia pudding,
it's better fresh, but yeah.
Yeah, but if you're looking for something that you can do a week's worth, the chia pudding is a better option, because it will refrigerate for 5-6 days.
Okay.
Versus a protein shake that you probably want to consume.
Yeah, a protein shake with a banana, and it's probably going to get a little questionable after 3 days, maybe.
Yeah, a little weird consistency. But that's for breakfast protein bites. Great snack. Those, I've probably made.
What's a protein bite?
It's generally a base of almond flour, coconut flour. I put either maple syrup or honey, protein powder, generally a nut butter. You can do mix-ins like nut seeds, chocolate chips, but it's any combination of that, whether it's gluten and dairy free, kind of, if you want it carb heavy, you add the oats, or you can go lower carb by not having the oats. There's 100 different ways to make it, but basically it's a little ball of nourishment that I would just say never eat more than 2 at a time. They can get a little addicting.
Yeah, good little treat. That's your breakfast dessert, maybe.
Yeah. So, but then to kind of go into more
lunch. Yeah, let's get to lunch,
dishes.
dinner.
So let's talk. I'm just going to we can break them down a little bit, but we've got sheet pan meals, skillet meals, instant pot, crock pot, all of these meals on the grill. And then we already talked about rice, but to talk through some of these, sheet pan meals, if you're not aware of what a sheet pan meal is, That is basically after you prep, meaning cut, slice, dice, whatever it is, you put it on a baking sheet and put it in the oven. It's an entire meal. Now, it may come in stages. For example, we have a potato, veggie, and chicken sheet pan. Your potatoes are going to go in and roast for a bit first, but then you take it out, add the other two, and finish it. But it's minimal cleanup, minimal prep, and you have a full meal.
And the nice thing about, and that example you gave was perfect because, okay, I get into the kitchen, go preheat the oven, chop the potato, get my pan ready. Maybe the oven's preheated by now, put that in, then go prep what's next, the chicken. Go prep the chicken, season it, slice it how you want, whatever. By the time you do that, it's probably ready for that next stage. Put that in, go chop your vegetable. I mean, you can get that down to a dialed routine where you're saving so much time.
Oh, yeah.
And the cleanup's so easy.
Oh, yeah. So, and then a skillet meal for those that may not know what that is. Like, for example, John likes chicken thighs. So you take chicken thighs, seasoned, whatever, you sear them in a skillet, and then remove them. You add all of your potatoes, whatever it may be, potatoes, vegetables, whatever, then return them to the skillet, and then it goes in the oven. So basically you're like prepping, like it's a minimal prep, and then it transfers to the oven to bake. Yeah. And it's, again, fix it and forget it kind of thing, which goes into the next thing of, like, we all know what a crock pot is. We all know what an Instant Pot is. If you really want to be easy, I mean, there are so many recipes where you like don't even have to prep. You dump everything in there, hit the on button, and leave. So
a whole chicken, some high quality salt, just toss in a crock pot is fantastic.
Okay, so we're going to take it back to pre-dating era. This was when John made the commitment to teach himself how to cook. What was your go-to? And he made this, he's a creature of habit. We've talked about that. So he was also okay with eating the same thing every day for an extended period of time, but take us back and tell us what your go-to was.
I would crock pot an entire, exactly what I just said. Crock pot an entire chicken. You just put the chicken in a crock pot, no water, because it's going to start to drip
Fat.
its own fat pretty soon. So you don't need any liquid, and cover that in salt. And then I would flip flop between rice and potatoes to pair with that. But I mean, that's so good.
So
I'm getting hungry just thinking about that.
Yeah, but how many ingredients was that?
It's 2. It's chicken and salt.
Well, then,
and then a potato. Yeah.
And Kerrygold butter.
If it was a baked potato, sure.
Yeah, So again, I mean, there are so many recipes you can make with 5 ingredients or less. Now, they're not going to taste like a 7-course dining experience at the upscale Michelin restaurant in your city, but it's going to be good for you. It's going to nourish your body. You're going to feel better. And if you start simple, we will get you to that level of creating delicious, higher end meals.
I think you'll also be shocked. And the reason I say this is because I hear it from people you work with and also from just other people in general. Like, good quality food, even if it's crazy simple, tastes so much better than cheap, like not cheap, but grab and go stuff from a restaurant. Like, it is crazy how you get a good high quality salt, like a Redmond real salt. And like I just said, a whole chicken or some quality steaks, salmon, whatever it is, like the taste of that is so much better than anything you're going to get at a cheaper restaurant.
Yeah, we're not just saying that. So I will reference clients of mine that
you've helped start to meal prep.
I meal prep for them, but also teach I teach them as well. And I have been told no less than 100 times probably. They grew up on processed foods, pre-made meals, like not home-cooked food, generally on the unhealthier side. She has told me 1,000,000 times, I cannot believe that healthy food can taste this good. I cannot believe that fresh food can taste this good. I can't believe that something so simple tastes so good. I've heard that countless times. It just blows her mind. Some people just don't understand because either they weren't exposed to it growing up, or they haven't given it a chance.
Yeah.
Because of these, ideas that it's doesn't taste good, that it's too expensive, that it's not worth your time. And, but trust me, he's a walk. I mean, he can vouch for me.
Well, it's what I was going to say is, so even when you're not, like when you're here, obviously I'm so spoiled, I get awesome meals, but even when you're not here, like the thought will cross, like if you're away for a week for an event, the thought will cross my mind to be like, oh, I should maybe I'll go try some new restaurant in Savannah. And then I think, okay, I'm going to order something very similar that I could make at home. And I guess maybe my palate is so advanced that I can think like, it's going to taste the same, possibly better at home if I'm grilling that steak and making that rice myself and whipping up a quick salad. And it's going to be like half the price. And it's, all those things. I can still work a little bit on my phone while I'm doing it. I can multitask easy.
Well,
Easy
let me
answer
make,
for me.
you know what? And I just thought of something that I should have said at the beginning. So when I leave for like a week, I come home. Mind you, I run the dishwasher, 2 people. I run the dishwasher every single day. If it's a crazy weekend and I'm cooking a lot, maybe twice a day, I will leave for a week. And John will have run the dishwasher once.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about easy cleanup, simple prep. If he runs the dishwasher once in a week and eats at home for
Don't
every
ask
single
if
meal.
it makes a mess, but that's...
Yeah, we'll not get into that part. But
Right.
I mean, like I said, like for an entire week of food, you're running it once.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest,
Making
that's
dinner every
minimal.
night.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do the protocol you said. I double dinner. So I have lunch.
shake.
And typically I'm someone who naturally would overeat if given the opportunity. So like if I'm grilling something, I portion out it immediately before I put it on the plate I'm going to eat off of.
Yeah.
My Tupperware container for the next day, I portion it out. Otherwise, I'll eat it all and not have lunch. So,
Well, and that's something we should talk about another day. Some portions
Yeah.
and learning about that. But we're going to start simple here. So
yeah. So, is there any diets you've tried or you've maybe studied that you'd recommend? I know that can get a little technical.
yeah, and I'm not generally someone that would like push towards a diet because I do feel like that.
I think what you've said so far. Sorry to interrupt
Yeah.
you, but I think what you've said so far
It aligns with what
is
I'm saying.
enough structure.
Yeah.
That there's no name of a diet you just described, but it's almost enough of a structure to, all right, get 90% of my food from the perimeter, try to cut my eating out in half, like that sort of thing. Like that's, for a beginner, that seems like a great structure.
For sure. I guess going back a little bit, there was a period. How long did we intermittent fast?
Multiple years for sure.
Yeah.
3 years maybe.
But I say that only as an example because, first of all, that's not what I would recommend right away for someone just learning how to eat. But like it worked for us for that time. It worked with our lifestyle, the way we were, going about our days. But then over time, things change and that's okay.
Yeah.
And we transitioned from that. But intermittent fasting, we did that for a number of years. That worked. And then things just changed for us. But I would say as a baseline foundation for healthy eating, if you are looking for a structure that you need guidelines, Whole30. Because that is teaching you to eat whole foods, cutting out refined sugars, cutting out processed foods. And trust me, if you are committing to Whole30, you're not eating out.
Yeah.
So it's really forcing you to learn, and there are a zillion recipes out there. I mean, I have a
totally,
digital
yeah.
cookbook that is all Whole30 compliant meals. But I would say Whole30 is a great baseline start. If you don't have someone that's cooking for you, such as myself, or that you haven't figured out a plan, if you are in no man's land and don't know where to start, go to Whole30. There's so many resources online. Again, I have a digital cookbook. I can answer questions on that, but that really just starts you at the root of eating well, eating wholesome food. And it's not meant to be I don't like the word diet because healthy eating is not
Yeah,
a diet. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, it could be your lifestyle. Exactly.
It is a lifestyle. And just like any commitment and discipline to live better, it takes time. But like I said, it's a lifestyle. Healthy eating is a lifestyle, and you're
not going to change a bad lifestyle overnight.
No,
So
you're
it's,
not.
I mean, just recognize that, as we said in the beginning, if you're eating out a ton during the week and your pantry looks like, I don't know, a little kid's dream with all these box stuff and bag stuff, like, start small. Take those baby steps, set little attainable goals.
Yeah. And I think just to give a little bit of encouragement is I see so many people fall off the bandwagon, as you want to say, and it's because they didn't decide to execute with discipline, to commit to. That's another reason why I like the whole 30 days. Commit to start small, commit to something, and trust me, over time.
Yeah, you'll make it happen.
I have it. It will become habitual over time, and trust me, you will not regret it.
No.
So
nothing feels better than feeling good. And I mean, eating well, you can't argue. It's going to make you, I think, enjoy life better.
Oh yeah. So if you are still kind of stuck, you can join our email list, and dropping right into your inbox, you will get a healthy eating quick start guide. So that's if you're looking for a resource, or honestly, if you just want some free recipes, join our email list. That'll drop right in your inbox. But thanks guys for listening. Thanks for interviewing me tonight.
You bet. Thanks as always.
See you next time.